Welcome back to Candid over Coffee, our season finale, if you will, which is a special crossover episode between Locker Room Talk and Candid over Coffee.
You guys already met our guest, Dr. Chinyanki, a counselor here at Counseling and Psychological Services. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we also have two very special boys with us today. We have our directors and producers and editors of Locker Room Talk. We have Nathan Nanku and Stefan Parta, who will also be joining us today to get a kind of boy and girl perspective on our lovely topic, relationships. So, Dr. Chinyanki, we have some questions for you.
So, first question. Can you share some signs of a toxic relationship and why these relationships are often difficult to leave?
Okay, I think let's think toxic relationships. I think number one I would think of is a pattern of control. And I think sometimes they're the obvious patterns, like restricting who you see. I don't really feel comfortable when you talk with your exes. Why do you spend so long talking with him or her? That kind of thing. But I think it's very important to recognize that they're very subtle forms of control as well. So I hear sometimes people can be a little overly critical, you know, and if your partner is sort of always making comments, they might even say, but I'm really only trying to help you be the better you. You see what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily come across as bad. It's like they're helping you. But actually, there's something that can be quite controlling about it, because you actually find that maybe you're walking on eggshells, or you're asking them for a lot of validation before you do something, or wear this, or, you know, say that. I think something else would be boundary violations as well. So I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, but we share our social media because I've got nothing to hide," and it's also a way of building trust. But actually, that doesn't build trust. That's essentially saying, "I don't actually trust you, so I do need to have access to all your stuff." And so I think privacy in a relationship is important, even when it's the person that you love the most in the world. I think boundaries are important too. So those would be two I could think of. You know.
Personal experience. Having access to all social media doesn't mean anything either, because they still cheat on me. They still do that anyway.
I suppose that's why it doesn't build trust, right? Because if you really were up to no good, you just find cleverer ways of doing that. So there's no guarantee, I guess, you know? Yeah. Oh, I could think of one more. I think what often comes up, what we often say in everyday language is, "You made me feel." Right? So when you did this thing, you made me so angry, right? And I think something that is quite toxic is perhaps not taking responsibility for your own feelings or behaviors. So one of the things, you asked me an important question, why is it sometimes really hard to leave? I think people who have toxic dynamics in their relationships can still be really good looking and really charming, right? So they may make you laugh, they're really charming, they may make you actually feel, I just said it, they may make you. The way they are with you, you may actually feel very special and very loved. They could be affectionate, they could be hitting all the right notes, and at the same time, doing things that are a little low-key disrespectful and invalidating, you know? So I think when somebody says, look, I know I got angry, but if you didn't do this thing, which is so unreasonable, then I wouldn't have lost my temper that way. And that's not actually taking responsibility for my anger or the way in which I showed it. You know, so little phrases like "you made me feel" or "you make me feel" is a little bit of a red flag, I would say. Yeah.
Do you think that someone who, let's say, is not in the best mental health or best mental space, but they believe that if they get into a relationship, it's going to fix those issues that they have mentally, right? Do you think that looking for the relationship can just be another form of hindering their healing path?
That's an excellent and complex question, Nathan. Thank you for that. Where to start? So one thing I heard was not being in the best mental health. So just to be super clear, think about mental health like a continuum, right? You could be in pretty good physical shape, but that doesn't mean you're the fittest ever. So I think mental health is the same. We're all kind of fluctuating somewhere. So I don't want people going around with the idea like either you're in good mental health and you're fit or you're not. Like we're all trying somewhere along that continuum, right? That's one. I think the idea of seeking out a relationship or a particular type of partner to heal that mental health issue is potentially dangerous, because one of the things about a less healthy relationship is when you're overly dependent on your partner to help you feel good about yourself. And so I want to also dispel that myth that if I want to work on my mental health, I need to do it all alone. You know, so this is there like a monk going up to a cave in a mountain, and then they will descend from the mountain when they're all fit. That's not necessarily realistic, but at the same time, seeking out healing through a relationship may not give you the right foundation that you have done things for yourself. Because if that relationship were to break up, then what does that mean? Right? I mean, a relationship is two individuals, right? We don't want two halvesies trying to make a whole, because a little bit. I think it leaves us a little vulnerable if and when that relationship doesn't go well or ends, or that person changes and starts treating us differently. So yeah.
So we got Dr. Chinyonki's perspective on certain questions that we had. Now she's going to ask us certain questions to get our opinions on it. Which is why we have these wonderful cards. So
The
red
preference is
flag,
colorblind
green
slightly.
flag, beige flag. Just
Beige means
like
what?
that.
Can't decide?
Yes,
In the
it's just
middle?
like in the middle. It's like
Okay.
okay, depends kind of thing.
Okay. A vague, undefined relationship where two people spend time together, have sex, but avoid labeling their relationship. Not sure. Red flag?
We're not explaining.
Well,
Why do you think it's a beige flag?
why do you think it's a red flag?
Because
It's like, why you not putting a label on it? Like why this is like a friends with benefits kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
no,
friends,
just-
literally friends with benefits.
okay.
But that's a label.
exactly.
That is a label. I just don't understand.
Personally.
Why are
They
labels
could be
so
working
important?
together and work doesn't allow relationships.
Yeah, but like
Oh,
They can
they be together at work.
They can be working together, but the office does not allow relationships.
So it's
Yeah,
keeping it
actually, I understand
private.
who
So
say that,
private.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but that's
No, but honestly, I
different.
think personally for me, I wouldn't like. I would deem it a red flag, but I see that other people work it out that way. So that's why I say beige.
I don't. I mean,
It's bordering a red flag, but it's
Yeah.
not a red
I
flag.
still think it's a red flag.
I still give it a red.
Okay, why do we think
Why
it's
do
a
you
red
think it's
flag?
If you're doing something, okay, so the question had have sex in it, right? If you're doing something together and it's like you're doing that with this person, you're sharing that with this person, it's such an intimate thing, in my opinion. And then you're not labeling it.
Exactly.
Labeling, okay, labeling.
So you mean
has its
sexy
thing.
time is the deal breaker for you?
Sexy time.
But why though?
But if you're going to be intimate, even without the sex
Mhm.
as well, but you decided to be with this person decided to be with you, having the label on it kind of just not justifies it, but it makes it exclusive. And then because a lot of times with situationships, you get the other cases with, well,
A
it's
situationship is the definition of it.
Yeah.
so then they'll be like, okay, so I can
Or
have
friends
a
with
partner, I can have other
You said they were
questions stem
friends
from
too.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Fr-
that's
But this-
also gonna bring
It's a
down to the part
mutual
where
exchange.
Well, what if that mutual
Beige flag.
exchange, right? I'm just saying, actually was agreed that it was mutually exclusive, and we both agree,
Well then, okay,
right?
I can
So
do
mutual
that.
exclusivity may not necessarily be off the table.
Mhm.
And so I might argue, what's the value of labels? Why do we need to label things all the time? They give clarity for some. Well, they give clarity for some,
and then some
right?
people would kind of know. I mean, sometimes labels don't even help people to kind of back off, but
Yeah.
you know, it kind of helps these to know what you. It adds some boundaries a little bit.
it also
But then again,
sometimes
that's
it
a
fills
whole
in
other thing.
people because some people be like, so what do we even do? Like we do all of that,
Exactly.
but then we're also not labeled. So now
Would that
can I move?
would that
Can I
lead
have
to
a
monogamy
full?
then?
Leave some more
Where you
questions.
could have multiple partners? Would that lead to monogamy?
That's not monogamy.
that's
That's polyamory.
Sorry, polyam.
Yeah.
Polyam.
That leads to
It's
all
just
those
like-
questions coming up too.
See,
Well-
why it's a red flag now?
Uh-huh.
Because it's so many questions.
Well, here's the thing. So,
like me.
but if you have the relationship or the situationship and you actually have a lot of communication between the two of you, if those two people actually agreed we like labels or we don't like labels, we're making this mutually
So it's
exclusive or it is
case-based.
open. If you think about
Well,
it,
yes,
if you communicate, then the clarity may be there without necessarily.
Law relationships too, like necessary.
But
Like
also
a
legal.
legal bond.
Did you know you have to register a common law relationship?
No.
Yeah, because you can't just show up and say we lived together for 8 years.
Yeah.
I want the
Oh
pension.
my gosh, I don't know.
So this is why perspectives exist when
True.
it comes to social sciences, so that you can have a way of which you frame everything, right? So when I look at this question, I look at it from coming from church, right? I also look at it under Dr. Jordan Peterson said this, that when it is you have sexual relationship with somebody, you are basically giving a piece of your soul away with it because you are engaged in an act that is meant for a specific purpose in terms of the reproduction of life, right? And by continuously doing something that is for that purpose and you are not in a committed relationship with that person, you continuously share your you give out your
Life force.
because
Yes,
your
parts of
life
your
force.
soul.
Is this like Harry Potter and the Horcruxes? I mean, let's just take a little reality check, right? Sometimes, I mean, for those of us that there could be some religious backgrounds and so on, where sex is really part of a formal marriage, things like that. But I guess not everybody necessarily subscribes to that.
Yeah.
So two consenting adults can have a sexual relationship and not necessarily want to get married or not necessarily wanting to make children there. You know, so I think we need to respect that there are multiple perspectives. And I think what it always boils down to are these two people communicating what their expectations are. And are they doing so honestly? You know what I mean? Because so many times when I'm doing couples counseling, they're like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was, cheating and whatever. It was like, then I asked, did you all actually talk about wanting monogamy? And it turns out that conversation never happened. Or the person says, but monogamy is really important to me. And I'm like, yes, but did you say it out loud to the other person? And what did they do? In the beginning, they were like, I don't mind keeping it open because they thought that's what the other person wanted to hear when they secretly wanted a monogamous relationship. And then you get disappointed. This is very tricky. Should men pay for everything on a date? Well, I'm assuming it's, well,
I think that's a red flag.
I think so too.
should any partner pay for something always on a
It's a red
date?
flag, especially if you're students. And you're not okay, but I think it's a red flag.
Any partner, yes.
Yeah.
Not men always.
one partner doing it every time?
Exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
red flag.
Yeah.
It needs to be 50-50.
All right. Gaslighting is okay and can be justified. I didn't even finish.
She just said gaslighting.
Like, why are you gaslighting me? No, let's not
Well,
do
what do we mean by gaslighting exactly?
Yes.
Nathan, you didn't
Same.
go for the beige.
Gaslighting, man. You tell them, you're hiding a gift from me. Okay, I guess. But
Yeah.
this is serious gaslighting we're talking about.
Well, what do you all mean by gaslighting though? Just to be super clear.
Yes. Gaslit me into believing it.
Like, why are you gaslighting me? It's
What
just
does it
believing.
You can't
It
use it definitely.
Yeah, what does
It's
it mean?
not-
What does
oh,
gaslighting
no.
mean?
You're putting
It's
me on
kind
the
of just
spot
making
now.
the person appear to like you are the victim and they are always wrong. Like you're trying to make sure they
I mean, like if you say, "Hey, Sarah, when you did that thing, I felt a little embarrassed," and I go, "God, why are you so oversensitive?" That's not how I
Yes,
meant
that's
it.
it.
and making you
I was
feel like,
heading to that.
oh, why did I even say anything to begin with?
Right.
Red flag.
Red flag.
That's a red flag.
Right.
One time.
So, Dr. Chinyaki, thank you very much for being here with us.
Very
Thank you
And
for
that was our season finale.
exactly. Thank you to the boys for being here.
So that was one season finale done.
Good coffee.
Candid over coffee. Hopefully we shall see you for season 2. So look out for that. But thank you all so much for watching, and we hope you all
Enjoy.
learned a lot. So yeah.
Bye.
Bye.